Hello, hello, hello. So this is just a random live. I don't even know if anybody's in here, but hopefully some people that are watching Shaboogs, I don't even know, come over here because I feel like people wanted to talk more about it, but the stream got shut down. So hopefully somebody will come up here and talk to me because I'm not good at just talking to myself. So I'm gonna drop the link and try to get somebody to come over here. Hopefully Cryptex will come actually. So I mean, I'm not gonna discriminate against anybody that comes over, but yeah. So what should we talk about? Y'all were not happy with Ruckus, but I mean, you gotta have, if you're gonna have a debate, you're gonna have the other side. And literally, me and Ruckus don't agree on anything at all. Like, we butt heads on literally everything. But he's a pretty good guy, and he's always allowed me to have my opinion. He's even let me use his content to basically just disagree with him. So, I don't know. I think that's cool. Hi, Heather. Um, but, okay. So, I should probably think of something to talk about, huh? It has been quite the month for me. And so, yeah, kind of feel like a loner, but that's all right. Um, that's totally cool. Hi, Miranda. Somebody get Cryptics over here. Yeah, so we talk about a couple of things that I found interesting in the transcript read that criminality has been having going on. The AI voices and stuff are like super helpful to follow along. And although I do miss like the individual readings where like, people get their little accents and get super into their characters, that's always enjoyable. But the AI voices do help. YouTube bad actors, hi. I feel like remember YouTube bad actors when I was like, I don't know if you're gonna like me, and then you're like, is this a freaking defense channel? And like, I'm not really like a defense channel, but like also I'm definitely not like a hardcore like Richard Allen's guilty channel. I'm more like a let's let anybody have whatever opinion they want and talk about it. Oh, it didn't get shut down. It was like basically they were on there for like 2 hours and she had to put away her groceries and it's just like was she was ready to shut it down. I mean, 2 hours is a long time to talk. That's basically my max of talking too. And so she just was ready to shut it down. So I figured I would start this up because Ruckus dominated the conversation. No, I'm just kidding. uh, People were getting mad because I like Ruckus personally, but I'm also like he's okay with people not liking him, but it's always good to be respectful when you and it's hard to call into like a channel where you are the only person that is the opposite opinion. Like that's pretty I mean, I guess he doesn't get intimidated or anything, but like me personally, I would get intimidated by that a little bit. He can be a little aggressive. Yeah, that's true, but if you think about it, he has like 5 people that are all like against him. So you kind of have to be a little bit aggressive in that sense. But like Cryptex was getting sad that he was getting left out. And I want him to come over here and talk to me, and he's not here. So I don't know what's up with that. Yeah. So I guess like he was around before your time. Yeah, he kind of like did stop making content for a while, or like it's kind of like a stressful environment, and it's, I don't know, it's wearing. Like, it's hard to deal with all the different people's opinions and telling you like what you're doing wrong and like who you should be talking to and like what you should be thinking, and it's just annoying, honestly. But like it's definitely difficult to like get both sides to come together. Like, I thought it was funny because she was like, I just want this to be a channel where people can like come together and talk, and like it was very like exactly how I was when I first started. Or that's actually how I still am. I like have that idea in my head that like, oh yeah, people can talk and listen to each other and like appreciate one another's opinions. But I mean, that's not actually the case a lot of times. But then there's always going to be people that are going to talk shit or hate on you, and you just gotta let it happen. You can't please everyone. I can't really even please anyone, so I just gave up on that. Whatever. uh, I thought it was funny. I really need somebody to talk to up here, or I will just ramble and ramble and ramble, and that's annoying. So, oh, I could drop the link. Come, anybody that wants to come up here and talk to me and save me from myself, that would be like amazing. I am fishy. Fishy and I are one and the same. Oh, Charles is going live? Oh, well. I didn't mean to, but yeah, I guess people will have to choose between me and him. I'm just kidding. Whoa. Oh, the big fish, small pond was like because this channel, big or not, oh, yay, Cryptex, click that link, get up here, help me out, save me from myself. I'll let you talk all you want. It was actually for like aquaponics. It's like I do have mods. Like Cryptex is a mod. I kind of like had I guess a blow. I don't have any friends anymore, kind of. So I guess I don't have any mods. That's pretty much what happened there. Mars a mod. She's like a mod everywhere, I guess. She's a good mod though. Cryptex, are you really not gonna click the link and save me? I'm gonna cry. You adore me because you don't know me yet. I'm just kidding. No, I'm like literally trying to correct some of the things because I don't make the best choices all the time, and I get caught up in stuff. And I guess we all kind of make bad choices, but I kind of made a bunch of them, and they all combined at once. And yeah, so that's been super fun. Like legitimately not the best, but also like sometimes you just got to have everything explode to like find yourself. And you know yeah, aquaponics is super cool. Like, it's the plants feed the fish feed the plants, or yeah, and it's a circular system. So yeah, they only want you if you do what they want. Yes, but also like I'm definitely not innocent, so I can only do better from here on out and apologize to the people that I kind of hurt along the way. And yeah, it's probably enough of that talk, or I'll start crying. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, thank you, YouTube bad actors. I can change, and like I mean, some of it, like I'm not gonna take responsibility for all of it, so whatever. You can see a purple hue from 5 miles away. It looks like a UFO landed. Hell yeah. You know Charles likes me, so you like me? Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, Charles is probably on the list of people that he does like me. He's a good friend, I guess. But he also will probably tell you that I'm correct in saying that I hurt people. I guess. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I know. Great Hughes. Hi, Cryptics.
Hey, how are you, Fishy? What's up?
I am good. I'm so much better now that you're here to talk to me. I was like just rambling and like I don't know how long I could do that for.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually just now like starting to be okay again because I was like crying on the daily and like literally just spiraling. But I'm back and happy to have like I think it's good too because sometimes you just gotta like figure out who actually you need to have around, and sometimes it's good to clean out the ones that aren't there that shouldn't be there or something. I don't know.
What was going on? Because you were like doing a lot of lives, like frequently, and at some point you stopped doing lives. What happened? Why did you
Uh,
stop?
um, Probably like multiple things. I guess like just being in Discord and stuff. Like we just talk behind the scenes because sometimes people can be very judgmental and like I always had like a rowdy group of people that had different opinions and like you know um sometimes that was like stressful, and sometimes people were like, why do you have this person on, why do you have that person on, and it's just like ugh.
Yeah, I got it for sure.
And then like after I hadn't been on in a while, I was just like nervous to do it again. I don't it's intimidating.
Come on, you? Come
Yeah,
on, you're the boss.
I'm not. I'm like
You are.
I feel very awkward all the time.
No, it's cool to have you back for real. Cool. Uh, what do you think about the new? I don't know. After the release of the transcripts, do you have any new perspective or something to say about that? Some.
um I definitely think that anybody who is just like okay with the reporting that they did on the trial and isn't gonna like actually listen to what happened in the trial is missing out on a large portion of what actually was said, because there's just like there's so many little bits and pieces that like you can't really report on them. You kind of have to just like go through it, and then like you just notice things that'll like pop up and be like, oh, we knew about that, or like, oh yeah, that matches with this, or like sometimes I'm like, how is that their testimony when like we like um Libby's uncle, like where was he? I'm pretty sure he was one of the people that found the girls according to his own, you know, his
Mhm.
own not testimony, but like interview. He's spoke on it. And so I don't know like why certain people just kind of like get left out of the story. That's something that's interesting to me.
Yeah,
What do
good
you
point.
think?
I I didn't have enough time to look into the transcripts, so I, sorry, I'm useless
No,
tonight.
no, I like I haven't read them. I've just been like catching criminalities streams, which are like seriously the AI is very cool and like
No,
super
awesome.
helpful, and it's going to take forever because it was like what, a 3 week trial, so it's probably going
Exactly.
to take like 3 weeks to get through that stuff, at least if we went to it every day for 8 hours. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's not easy to, or maybe it is easy, but I want to know the answers from you directly. Do you think that Richard Allen is innocent, or you just don't know? What's your opinion about it?
Well, you're just gonna put me on the spot there, right?
Yeah.
I think that I do not feel comfortable with the evidence that they have because I know that like Sleuth likes to say that only 10% of crimes have DNA. But I would say in this case, it would be more likely to have DNA, seen as it's like a very hands-on crime, right? Like he had to either like what be behind the girls, especially Abby only had like one cut mark, right? But Libby had multiple, and according to the FBI warrant for Ron Logan, they said that he would definitely have had DNA on him. So he still has the same car. They couldn't find anything in there. Like he still I don't know. Like I have a lot of issues with a lot of things. Like there's no digital evidence. There's no his emails, they weren't shady. His internet searches, they weren't shady. There's no evidence that he had any like child, abuse material that he was like watching. There's no I don't know. There's no like arc to say that that's something that he would do. Like it's and then to have none of the witnesses actually said like Richard Allen is the guy I saw. No geofencing locate. Like what exactly is convicting him? It's like the only thing that actually links him is that bullet, which is, in my opinion, not good evidence. I'm not saying it's nothing. Like it's definitely, if you have that kind of gun and you have that kind of bullet, that is something that goes into like that side of things. But I don't know. There's just the way that they collected evidence and conducted the investigation. It's just very questionable on so many levels. I could go through and just so many things that like I just don't feel comfortable. Like there's no hairs, there's nothing, but there is DNA. They said there was male DNA. So whose is it? Like they found cups. That's one thing I learned today, that they found was it like a Jimmy John's cup, I think, and a cigarette butt, and like all of this stuff. It has somebody's DNA on it, right? Like I don't know. I honestly am like, what even says that they crossed that creek? Like the whole story we've been told is somebody's theory of a case, but it's not the actual story. Like we don't know what happened because they didn't do a good enough investigation, in my opinion.
I agree, 100%. And random question here. What do you think about the information related to the murder sheet? You know that the mother of Richard Allen was saying that he was acting weird after the date of the murders. You know the whole story about the murder sheet that was released yesterday.
I do. I don't think no, nobody's blocked. I don't have anybody blocked, Shibby. I don't think. Maybe my mods blocked a couple people, but I don't think so. The murder sheet, in my opinion, they have poor morals, or like I don't think they're very ethical. Like releasing all those text messages and stuff, like from the, what were they called? I don't know, but all those messages that they got from like a little scuffle between creators, like I think that was unethical, and like what did that do for the case? Then the leaked crime scene photos, they had more to do with that than people realize, I think. I don't really believe them. Why they waited to put that out for their book? Like that alone is just questionable to me. That's shoddy. then them saying that he said this, and that. Nobody else reported that. Like people that were sitting right next to them did not report that. So I have a hard time believing that. Like he's threatening the judge and the prosecutor, and that was never brought up or discussed. I don't believe that, honestly.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know what to think. I don't know. We know that the murder sheet, they are like the media weapon of the law enforcement, for sure.
Hmm.
But I don't know, how can we trace like the line between what is factual, what is not factual. I think they have good information, but for sure they have like an agenda, a narrative here. So it's hard to say. I don't know. It's
I
of
think
course.
there was a point to where they I thought that they had good information and they were slightly unbiased. Teddy, hi. Yeah, Teddy, duh, you know this. You're lucky I'm uh, a fan of you. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't block you either way, but you can come up here and talk if you want. Um, but I think that the point when the murder sheet started kind of like being a prosecution mouthpiece was when I guess when they released the Ron or maybe the Keegan Klein transcript because like that was cool that they did that, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they don't do good work, but just like looking at um like did law enforcement talk to anybody who's not very much on their team? Like I don't think that they did, but I know the new superintendent like put a halt on them talking to anybody, and so I guess that could explain that. I don't really know.
Yeah. This I don't know what to think about that. It's weird. I don't know. Um, I know I'm very repetitive in my thinking, but again, let's start by something different here. Fishy, do you have any theory here in this case, or not really?
I don't, and let me be clear. I do 100% think that Richard Allen could be the guy. Like I don't I don't mind him being the guy. I'm not personally like attached to him as like a person. Like I more so am like frustrated that just everywhere that they could have like locked in some evidence, like getting the height of the guy on the bridge or like just those little pieces, like the how did they not like without even knowing Richard Allen was there, how did they not see his car and like say, oh, especially if there's only one in all of Delphi, they didn't take that car and like look for people that were in Delphi. And like people could say, oh, there was people like driving by this way and that way, but like I mean, how many people like could have driven by during those? It was only like 2 hours, right? And so like how did they not take that car and already come upon Richard Allen themselves, whether he did come forward or not? Like that's something that I think is weird. The another thing that really just like shocked me was the quality of the bridge guy video. I was like,
Oh my god.
holy moly, like this is very good quality. Like
Yeah.
it's so clear. Like it's I was like, did they just like really do a really good job of cleaning this up, or like how was the what they released so not good? Like I don't know. That's a little bit weird to me.
Yeah. I really don't like to be like an ass licker, let's say, but uh, when I think about you and about your channel, I don't know. I feel like we are like a sister channel. You know what I mean? I like. I don't know if you understand my point, but
I think
I
I do.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you are like in the same line of thinking sometimes, let's say.
Hmm.
Whatever. I lost my question. You were talking about what? Sorry for that.
I was talking about the video being very clear
Ah,
that
yeah, 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 yeah. Eh, that's really weird because I really don't know what's the actual situation here. Do you think that the video that right now we are able to see online is the actual video that was extracted from Libby's phone, or that's the enhanced video? Because I get your point. You know what I mean? That video is really clear. It's like it was actually enhanced. I don't know. Uh,
Well, I think whether it's the enhanced version or not, I think that it is the video that they had in 2017. One of the things I learned from the testimony was that the initial grab from Liberty's phone was, he said that he used a free it's not, Teddy says it's not the enhanced version, and he has been like awesome on, like, he explained the whole video before it was released and like literally explained it to a T. And so he says it's not the enhanced version. I don't know what would be better with the enhanced version. That's crazy that it could get better than that, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Hi,
100%.
Fishy.
Oh my gosh, I know. I do say like all the time. It's so annoying. I hate it. I apologize for it. I don't know how to stop it. So I'm sorry, Claudia.
El
Hi,
jefe,
Russell.
Can
how
you
are
hear
you,
me?
jefe? Yeah,
Hi, Fishy. El Jefe. El Jefe Guapo. ¿Cómo está?
you're the best. You're the best, man. How are you, Ruckus?
Good. How are you? How are
Happy
you?
to have you here again, man.
Yeah, I survived. I survived that. You know why I didn't look at chat?
Teddy, it's not a conspiracy, and like I think you're being maybe a tiny bit unfair. And then I'm not saying, like, I think that you're being accurate in maybe like a macro vision, but like
Fishy,
I think
fishy,
there are people that can look at things more objectively than
fishy.
that. Hmm.
I'm sorry, but I have to vent here. That
Yeah.
guy told me that I was a joke. You know what, Teddy? I'm a good joke. You're a bad joke, and sorry for that, but we can continue here. He was
Well,
the one
I think
starting
I
the
think
shit.
people can get frustrated with the other side because it is emotional. Like I think one thing to remember is that, one, be respectful in the chat, please, because it's just like really not helpful on either side. But I think people just need to remember that, like, if somebody thinks that Richard Allen is innocent, they're not saying like, oh, he's the killer and they're protecting him. Like, they literally think that he is innocent, you know? And so people do want justice for the girls, and I think that's important to remember, whether you agree with them or not. And people can have different perspectives. Like, I hear so many times that we're online and we're not going to make any difference in the case anyways. So, I mean, if you don't want to hear what other people have to say about it, then don't listen to it. I don't know. Like, I don't try to convince anyone of any side. That's
But
why I don't really
if,
necessarily like to even say my opinion.
if he can talk shit about me too. So sorry for that. And I'm not gonna boycott your streaming tonight, Fishy. But I just wanted to vent. Sorry for that. And
No,
I'm so happy to have Ruckus here tonight. I love Ruckus for real.
It's good to be here. It's good to be here. Do yourself a favor,
Yeah,
Cryptex. Don't
yeah.
read the chat.
No,
yeah,
I'm not gonna read it for real. I'm gonna stop here right now.
I never do.
Yeah,
I never read the
good
chat.
advice.
and Cryptex, I promise you that Teddy, like, although he can get feisty. That he
has
is
emotional problems for real. So
he's a,
he
he's a,
has.
he's a
He's
good guy.
bipolar. He's crazy. So
No, he actually thought that, like, going into it, he definitely thought that Richard Allen was, like, there was a good chance that he was innocent, like, before.
he's
And I
insane in
know
the
when
brain.
he was driving to the trial that he definitely, like, was on the open-minded side of things. And so
Okay.
I'm bipolar, Teddy. I don't know if you, I think sometimes, I think maybe bipolar is just drinking. You didn't you didn't think that he was innocent? Whatever. I thought you were more open-minded. Maybe you weren't. Who knows?
Teddy's okay.
Not to me, but whatever. Let's
No,
continue.
I get it. In Cryptex, I get it, buddy. I mean, you saw the last hour. You seen there's people that don't like me as well, but it's
Yeah.
online. What are you gonna do? I'm old, dude. I'm 61. None of this existed when I started in law enforcement. You know, I started off with a wheel gun. You know,
Yeah.
so you know, I'm old. But what I do know and what I have dealt with is people in general, good and bad. And I'm here to tell you. Go work law enforcement for a year, and you'll agree with me that people suck in general.
Yeah, I agree.
They're not
That,
good to
that,
each other. Yeah,
that's why I love my dog, man.
yeah, exactly. Every day,
Dude, for
I hate
real.
people more and more, and love my dog more and more.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you 100%, man.
You know, I always tell people, Cryptex, you want to see who really loves you?
My dog?
Go out in your garage and lock your wife in the trunk of her car, and lock
Sure.
your dog in the trunk of your car. Then go in and watch TV for an hour. Come back up and open both trunks and see which one's happy to see you.
100%, brother.
Yeah.
Agree.
But how are you, Fishy? Long time no talk.
I
Yeah.
am I'm
So
good.
happy you are back.
I mean, the whole back and forth is one of the reasons I stopped and had to take a little break is because it gets contentious, especially if you do try to talk to both sides, which, like, it's frustrating that people can't just hear the other side out. And, like, I do understand, like, emotions get involved, but, like, also just, like, take a deep breath and, like, just listen, and maybe you'll be like, oh yeah, that is a good point, or, you know, or just click out of it because you don't need to get stressed out about it.
Yeah. I really don't have any points to make. I enjoy talking with people, you know, but I really don't have any points to make. Um, you know, but when you start a sentence off with "I think," and then you say this whole paragraph, you know, I go to the first two words. You know, okay, that's what you think, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. No worries. Now, everybody knows I'm pro law enforcement, and for a good reason, you know. But I don't think all people are bad. You know, I
Because
don't.
I'm not anti law enforcement, like,
I never
that
said you
is,
were. Yeah, I didn't say you were.
I know. But I mean, if you're pro law enforcement, then I'm probably anti law enforcement because we are, like, polar opposites on
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. But that doesn't mean anything. I met inmates on death row, on the compound, in the local jail, pieces of shit out on the street that I would be friends with if I didn't have to do my job. You know what I mean? People are people, but you just have to accept that. If you just got blinders on and you like you don't agree with me, so you're an asshole. I really don't have time for that. You
Yeah,
Yeah.
know?
that's not a good argument.
Yeah, that's not a conversation. Those are statements. You know, Cryptex and I have always gotten along. Always gotten
Always.
along fine, and we hardly agree on anything.
See,
100%.
But
Cryptex, that's what you were talking about, right? We are we're sister channels or sister brother. We're step siblings.
Oh, I
yeah,
love,
well,
I love,
we're all people.
yeah, man. And Rukus, I'm gonna be repetitive here, but tell us about the Evansdale, man. I'm really curious about that.
I
Come,
know, I know, and I wish I could say more, dude, but I'm actually working on that case.
I know, but
So
what can we tell? What can you tell us, bro?
that DNA is going to be key.
Uncle
DNA
Ned.
is going to be key in this case.
Hey Ruckus, can I link that case to your opinion on the Delphi case, and just you said that the law enforcement is difficult to work with because they want to solve the case, right?
Correct.
So can you see how like that could possibly get in the way of like in Delphi that there was like that territorialness to certain law enforcement people?
Well, the
You know what I mean?
FBI got involved early, and then they came out pretty early as well. So to me, that speaks volumes.
What does
There's
that say?
well, the word task force, air quotes. You'll take some deputies from each jurisdiction. You know, Delphi Police, the county, law, and FBI, everybody, and they create a task force. Well, you work for the county. If you're the county deputy or detective that's working on the case, you actually work for the county, and it gets petty. It really does. There's a gentleman called Curtis Huff that's still walking the streets in Florida because of that shit. He killed people in 3 different counties, and none of those sheriffs could work together. So he's still walking the streets, and he definitely killed 5 people. There's no doubt about it.
So
And
how does like law enforcement's opinions, how does that like get in the way of actually just looking at the evidence? Because like I feel like that is something, for one, I how do they get information from the FBI if they were kicked off the case? Like, isn't that what they brought in Jennifer OJ to do, like the Chewy requests to get information from the FBI? That's not like actually a part of law enforcement's case. Isn't that separate, or is that incorrect?
well, no, it's not. When there's a task force, it's not. It's supposed to be everybody works together, but it
But
doesn't always work out
once
that
the
way.
FBI was kicked off the case or left,
Yeah, they left. You can't kick the FBI off. You can't do that. No law enforcement agency can kick the FBI off the case.
but do they take their information with them?
Sure, because like I said, it's a task force. You know, picture the movies that you see, you know, where they got the big whiteboard and they've got strings connected to people and all. You know, all that happens. They all take notes, share notes. The FBI
Well,
will do things on their own because they have more power to do
but
things
they
on their
brought
own.
in the Orion system, right? Pretty early on. Like
Yes,
I'm guessing like a week into it. So your visualization of a board with strings is basically the Orion system is that board, and it's making sure that those strings connect to all the places they should connect without even anybody putting that.
well, when they canvass and they interview people and they take tips, they put them in separate piles. This one, it looks like it might be good. This one's definitely no good. You know, they separate it. But my problem, and it's always been my problem, is the very first thing you want to talk to is the people that were there and that you know were there and people who said they were there. So I don't care if they called him Richard Whiteman or whatever. They should have reached out and followed that up. Period. That's a gaffe. That's a mistake. But we all have jobs, right? Whatever you do for a living, fishing, whatever you do, cryptex, we all make mistakes. Does that make you incompetent? No, it doesn't.
Well,
You made a
it's it's
mistake.
it's a series of mistakes, and then what really bothers me is it doesn't seem like they've corrected those mistakes, like implementing redundant systems so that like their interviews don't get erased. Like they should have a redundant system there. They should,
Agreed.
especially because they knew early on, according to the transcripts, that or actually it's according to Hannah Shakespeare on the Defense Diaries podcast. She said that one of the law enforcement had gone and to get his recording of an interview he had done because he didn't take notes because he felt like it interrupted the flow, and like they didn't have that recorded. So right there they should have been like, oh, red flag, like let's put in a redundant system so that like this doesn't happen. But it happened multiple times. Like, and
What do you
it's,
mean? I mean, I don't. I know Hannah. You know, I've spoken with Hannah, and you know, I don't think of her one way or another. But she is a Hollywood person. She makes documentaries. So whatever information she got, or however she got it, has zero impact on what I think of law enforcement. It happens all the time with these people that work for, um, you know, they're there to make documentaries.
I mean, she definitely has connections and spoke with law enforcement. Like, I
I
mean,
saw an interview where she spoke with the sheriff. I saw that, but I don't. You know, I've
did you
spoken
not
to her
like that?
several times. I've spoken to her several times, and she's never mentioned any of that to me. Nothing. Now, it wasn't on the topic of Delphi per se. It was other interest in doing other things. But you think she would have mentioned that, but she
I think
didn't.
she just learned that when she was doing this most recent documentary, so maybe that is part of it.
Now, is she part of that new documentary that just came out on Hulu?
Yeah,
She's involved with that?
yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. I haven't watched it. Like I said, and I can't express this enough, to me, the case is over. You know, they got the right guy and he's in prison. If something happens where he gets an appeal or DNA exonerates him, great. Great.
Dude, and that's totally fine. And like and I honestly, I want to be you. I want to feel good about it and be able to like let it go and accept it. And I just can't. And like I literally surround myself with people who basically disagree with me on everything. And like because I want them to like convince me otherwise, but I have a critical mind, and like it's the little things that like that don't fit that will drive me crazy, because I think that is like you said, not knowing like the order, or like basically anything about that day. Like they could say Richard Allen confessed, but like he didn't. Like we have no idea what happened that day. And if he did confess, we would know. Like in my opinion, that would be a full confession.
Well, according to documents, he confessed over 60 times. And
But
nobody's
how do we
contested
still not
that
know
on the
what
defense
happened?
side. The defense side has not contested that. You think they would have? They had a chance in court to
I
contest
mean,
those. They did not.
they absolutely contested that. They had a professor come in that literally deals with like false confessions, and they they absolutely contested that. Like they can't contest that he said
That's
these
not
things.
contesting it, Fishy. That's not contesting it. You can do that in every case. Go find a law um, expert, a professor, whatever, and tell you all about false confessions, because there's false confessions all the time. In most cases, it happens more than you could imagine,
No,
uh, for,
in
for
this
different
case there was
reasons.
many.
Yeah, for different reasons. But that's just saying that yes, people could false confess. Everybody knows that already, especially if you're in law enforcement. You know that's the norm. That
I
happens.
think a lot of people really have a hard time grasping that you would admit to doing something such a horrible crime if you didn't do it. Like they cannot grasp that.
Well, that plus the physical evidence.
Yeah, what is the
I know
physical
it's a
evidence?
source. I know it's a sore spot, but that round was definitely from his gun. There's no doubt about it. People
I
can
mean,
call that junk science all they want. There's actually in Indiana there was a case where the guy got awarded another trial. He got an appeal, got another trial, and he was convicted again on the same evidence on an ejected unspent round.
you are not incorrect. You're not wrong. But
It was
also
right.
there's
Guy's name was right.
many convictions on pattern matching evidence that like we've since learned that that was junk science, you know? And so like just because you have like precedence for a certain piece of evidence doesn't actually make that like scientifically sound evidence,
I agree.
especially when you bring into it that it's a subjective opinion. Like it is based on a person's eye. Like there's not like a certain like number of points that have to match. It's like, it's subjective, and so bias definitely plays a part. Like, especially in a case like this where they're going to send that off and have like it rushed, they're going to know that's an important piece of evidence, and like not intentionally, but it's gonna bias what they think. Like, just like with what you hear, if someone tells you you're gonna hear this, you're gonna hear, like, you're gonna have a hard time not hearing it. Do you know what I
But
mean?
objectivity is subjective. And I've taken heat for this statement before, and I'll take it again. If you want to go down that road, right, then you have to say that DNA is subjective because it's only
Mm,
99.99% accurate.
It's
It's not
it's
100%.
it's not the same though, because we know how many people in the population have certain number of alleles on different portions of their DNA, and so there's is a ground number that it could be, and like there may be some variation in that, but it's that is also one science that was actually built by like scientists and the medical profession, as opposed to like there's no ground number. Like, we don't know how many guns would make that pattern. They've never done that, and so if you don't have that base number, you just
Well, tool marks do matter. Tool marks do matter. And they've gotten a lot of people convicted. But it's not only that. You take that evidence along with the photo of him on the bridge, and this is just my opinion, and his confessions, and the fact that he admitted that he was there. Do you believe that? That he admitted that he was there looking at fish?
I don't think we know what time he was there. I don't think even he knows exactly what
Yeah,
time
I'm
he was
not
there.
talking about time though. Because he changed the time several times, right? But because of those three witnesses, that's what got him. They took a picture that there's metadata of, and they saw him soon after that picture.
Well,
And then,
Cheyenne, like, her metadata on her picture, she says, was like an hour off. The Who's Your Hardware Store camera, that was, the time was off, and so like, where we don't have Richard Allen's phone to place him anywhere, whether it was at his house or it was not on, or what information from that was, like, there's nothing from that. Like, how is there nothing?
well, they never got the phone that he had that day. It should be easy, right? He said himself that he was watching the stock ticker. It
He
should be
gave
easy. It
he
should be
gave
easy.
Dan Doolin the phone that day just because Dan Doolin didn't take whatever evidence he needed off of it. That is definitely his fault, but they can get information without the phone. It's not like you need the phone for all the information. That's
I
not a thing.
agree. I agree because it goes into the cloud. But if you take all of that evidence, okay, now, and I'm not asking you about time. I know that I told you he admitted he was there and on the platform, and you immediately went to, well, we don't know what time. I'm just asking you. He said he was there on the bridge on platform 1. Do you agree with that?
I mean, I I think
You're being
probably
wishy-washy, fishy. This is his
wishy
statement.
washy fishy.
Yeah, this
Um,
is his statement. He said, I was on the bridge on
but didn't
platform 1 looking at the
the
fish.
the reason I have a hard time, I okay, I believe it, but like didn't Keegan Klein also say that he was in a certain place? But like that doesn't actually, that's not, we don't just take people like
I
at their
agree.
word for that.
And that's why I'm asking you direct, simple questions.
Well,
He said he was on the bridge and he was on platform 1 looking at the fish
I have
during
no
that
reason
general
not to
time.
believe him. I have no reason not to believe him on that. Like,
Right. Okay. So he said he was there. And that's my point. He was there.
there was a lot of people there though.
And they spoke to all of them.
Well, we don't know if they spoke to all of them because like they missed Richard Allen for 5 years. Like, who else did they miss? Did they miss
They
anybody else? Is there any other tips that got like
agreed.
squandered away or misfiled or like?
Agreed. 100%. But what are the chances that he said he was there, and they find an unspent round that matches the ejection marks off of
Um,
his firearm. Now that
you know,
could be, and listen, there could be one in California, because Sig Sauer doesn't just sell them in Indiana; they sell them all over the country. Those
true, and
tool marks,
I have a good
yeah,
answer for that one.
yeah, those tool marks, they stamp those, and they have, it's like a fingerprint, okay? Because they're
It's
they're
not like a
stamped.
fingerprint. It's not. But they
It,
also
it
had
it
Brad
is.
Weber's. They also had a weapon from Brad Weber, right? And the ballistics person said that they were not. She wasn't able to rule that out, and so that's one person that like literally lives right there. That also,
Yes,
I mean, technically was there at the time, right? Because he came home around that time. That
I agree.
also had a weapon that would potentially match that bullet. They couldn't rule it out. So I mean that is the chances that somebody else would have around like that. It's apparently not that difficult.
You have to take all of the evidence and put it together, all of it.
True. Especially
And,
if you're working on like a circumstantial thing and not like because he said he was there, but he never said he was on that side of the bridge. So to to get me there, especially if you're saying he racked his gun on the bridge, then how did that round get over there? Like did somebody investigating it pick it up and
well,
put
if
it in
he
their
carried
pocket
it,
or
if he carried it, Fishy, right, and he didn't have one in the pipe, that means one in the chamber. What most people that carry, they'll load the magazine, they'll rack one into the chamber, take the magazine out, and put another round in, so you get the maximum amount of rounds. Now, if he wasn't used to carrying, he didn't have it in a holster, he just had it in his pocket, and this is if, I'm saying if here, and he racked it on the bridge. What he's doing then is racking around into the chamber. And then if he racked it again, then he would eject that round. And I'm
except
talking a
for
big if. I wasn't there.
well, the
But
6 hour is actually like the way that that gun is made. It's made to carry one in the chamber, like that's part of its
no, it's
design.
not. I have one. I have several. It's not made to carry one in the chamber. A lot of people do not carry it. You know that 6 hour comes, some of them come with a safety, some come without a safety. Any pistol. I have Glock 6 hours, you name it. um, you can either carry one, we call it in the pipe, carry with one in the pipe, so that way you don't have to rack it. It's quicker. You can draw it and shoot, or you can carry it without having one in the pipe. None of them are designed unless they're a direct load gun, which that one is not. That one is there's a magazine. So you can have one in the pipe if you want to. A lot of people don't like it, but if you have a safety, more people will carry it in the pipe. But if it doesn't have a safety, a lot of people don't like carrying it in the pipe.
Okay,
Glocks don't have a safety.
Ruckus, I have a question for you. Is it inaccurate to say that you could that if you have a 9 millimeter, that could also there are certain guns that could also fit a like I
A
don't know
40
if you
cal?
yeah is that
No,
like
nope, not possible.
are
It's
there
not possible at
any
all.
guns that have any type of like variation like that? Hey
Uh,
Polly.
w- well, if you look at an AR-15, that's chambered in 5.56 NATO. You can also use 233 ammo, which is the same size, and it'll fit and it'll function properly.
Basically
But if
those things that you work on cars with. I'm like blanking on the name, but like you can either have them in like millimeters or you can have them in
yeah, it's not the same thing.
I'm so dumb.
I understand you talking about sockets.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand what you're saying, but no, there's no pistols unless even with a wheel gun, you could load one into the chamber and then load six into um, the wheel and close it, but it's not going to function properly. You have to leave that. You put the rounds into the wheel and that's it. With a semi-auto like a Glock or Smith and Wesson MP or a 6 hour, you can have one in the chamber and it'll function, no problem whatsoever. You pull the trigger, it'll fire. The next one will load in. But with a wheel gun, it's called a single action. You got to cock it back and fire it. Well, if there's a round in the way, obviously it's not going to work. But the forensics, that's not. And I mean, you could debate it all day. It's not junk science. If they took that round and they put it into a bag of 100 rounds that have been ejected out of other Sig Sauers, they would be able to pick that one out of it.
But that's the thing, is she couldn't. Like, she had to actually fire it. And so, like, how are you going to say that that Richard Allen ejected this round and they can match that, but she can't replicate that to do another match? How is that?
I don't know why she fired it, because that gives you ballistics on the round itself, on the projectile. As it spins down the barrel,
Yeah, no,
there's
that's
rifling, so that's different. But it
I still think that's
wasn't
junk science,
fired.
but it's better.
Yeah, it wasn't fired. But and here's the thing: I could have a pistol, right, and stand in front of you and Cryptex, and I can eject a round out, give it to you, you eject a round out, and give it to Cryptex, and he ejects a round out. They'll be a little bit different because, and I don't mean this in a sexist way or anything, but we're men, we're stronger, we're rack it harder, so it'll make the same, it'll leave the same serration on there, but it'll be a
So
little bit different.
so then she should have got a man in there to rack it for her, if like
And
that's what you're saying.
and she may have. The reason she fired it, they didn't find a spent round. There's no
Exactly.
reason for her to fire it outside of covering all the bases.
I think they
If
do fire the weapons just to like check if it is a functional weapon. I think that's like part of their process, but you can't use that round. Plus, like, if you're gonna say that it leaves certain marks, like, wouldn't every time you use that gun or every time you rack it, change it in some like small way? If that's what you're saying happens in the factory where they're like printing the gun out,
yeah,
and that like
no,
each
there's a
ejector
difference.
mark has like a slightly different variation. Wouldn't that also happen every time you fire it?
Well, it's not just, without going into a gun course here, it's not just the ejector. The ejector is stationary. The slide goes back, and I did a video on this if you wanted to watch it. It's called DNA ejected rounds, yada yada yada.
I
But
did a video too. I bet you mine's better.
but but the slide comes back, hits the ejector, and throws the round out. But there's also a little hook called the extractor. You know, at the back of the bullet, it has that little groove around the back of the bullet,
Hmm.
the casing. The ejector grabs that, pulls it back to hit the extractor. So that ejector also leaves a telling mark. So is there a difference between just racking it out and shooting it out? No, technically, no, because we're talking about a live round that was not fired. But to cover all bases, you eject, 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 and then you fire a few to look at those to see if there's any difference.
But you can't
And like,
use the fired round to compare to the unfired round. It's just like you're not ever going to convince me that that's a thing.
well, the case, when you fire a round, when the pin hits the charge, right, the primer,
Hmm.
the case kind of expands,
It does,
and
yeah.
and where that little firing pin comes out, that's called the breech. So
Hmm.
when the round fires, it pushes the casing back against that area, and a breech mark can get you put in prison because those are all different. Where it hits against the back, there's a little circular mark and all that. So you'll have the ejector mark, the extractor mark, the breech
Ruckus,
mark.
have you seen where they're actually trying to get like serial numbers put on that so that it would leave like a serial number instead of just a random mark? Like, why do you think they would go through that step if it's just like an easily readable fingerprint type of a thing?
Well, a serial mark, it wouldn't leave anything in particular. The mark that a tooled instrument makes is particular, but you have to also couple that with, okay, say she couldn't say that Brad Weber's, she couldn't exclude that,
Hmm.
right? but they did not find any of that exact round in his weapon or in his home. They did find the same exact round in Richard Allen's home, the same brand, and they can send that to the factory and they can have it evaluated for grains, how many grains of gunpowder are in it. Every batch is different. It's not just scratches. I mean, everybody's saying that, well, how could they nail it down to that one gun? Well, because it's the same round that they found in his house. He owns the same ammunition. Now maybe
No, but he
Walmart
didn't.
sells
He
it and
didn't.
everybody has it.
He had Blazer or some like cheap round,
Blazer. Yeah, Blazer.
and that one was like a Winchester, right?
Yes, but he had Winchester rounds in his house as well. Whatever it was. I didn't keep track of all this. As soon as I seen it all, I made that video and I put it behind me. That alone was enough to me to convict him. Not to say that he killed him. That tells me that he was there. He was at that spot. You can kill somebody. Well, say this. Say I found a dead body and I find your driver's license sitting right next to it. That doesn't mean you did it.
It doesn't.
Somebody else may have had your driver's license and dropped it there. But if I find a round that matches a gun that you have, and you have that same lot number, same serial number round in your house, in your possession, and
Do you
that
think?
those
Do you think Libby said?
styrations match.
Do you think Libby said that be a gun on that video?
I don't know what she said.
Do you hear that? Did you watch it? Like, do you hear that at all?
I did watch it. I didn't watch it for content. I watched it for context.
I actually think I have that in my media s. Yeah, let's watch that really quick.
Go ahead.
See, this is the path that we go down. There's no path going there, so we have to go down here. Hi.
Fishy.
Yeah.
This is not going to be a popular opinion here or statement, whatever.
Okay.
Of course, I'm not an English speaker, but when I hear that audio, I can hear clearly that be a gun. I know everyone is going to be like, this guy is crazy. And of course, it's maybe it's because I'm not an English speaker. My ears are not used to the English language. You know what I mean. But I just want to say this. I send the video to some people out of the world, friends that they don't know anything about the case, in Ireland, in Australia, Canada, US, English speakers, England. And I asked to my friends, what do you hear here? No one was able to say something similar to that be a gun or this is the path we go down. I think we are biased because we know some information about the case.
Sure.
I can understand, and every time since the beginning, since the first time I hear that audio, in my mind was that be a gun, and I know this is not gonna be popular in the chat here.
Do we think he had like the gun out and pointed at them already, or like that he had said something?
We don't know. Yeah, nobody knows.
I don't know, but my point is, and maybe Rokus and Fishy, if you have friends out of the world in
I have
other
no friends.
in other countries. Really, try to do the same experiment I did because I was really curious about that, and I sent the video to people in Australia, in Ireland, in England, in Canada, in US, people who they didn't know anything about the case, and you're gonna love how the answers they they were not able to understand anything similar to that be a gun or this is the path we go down. I think we are biased about that. You know what I mean? I don't know if you
I
got my point.
Well, you do
I
hear
do, and
Libby say,
I agree. I agree with you 100%. Like that is one of the issues with bias is that it's not an intentional thing, and it's not something you can't really get out of it. You can't get away from it. It's like something that like it's in your head and it's subconscious, and so I think that's an excellent way to try to like figure out if that's what they said.
to me, a girl her age saying that be a gun doesn't even make sense to me.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I agree.
Doesn't make sense to me at all. Now, she could have said, I like SpongeBob SquarePants. To me, it doesn't matter what they said.
But
Uh, what what
See,
matters
Roku,
that's
is they
actually
had him on
see,
video.
that's a good
Roku,
point too. That children hear like at a different frequency. I know there was like a ringtone when I was like younger that like kids could hear that adults couldn't. So that's a good point too.
Roku.
It,
What do you hear?
I hear Libby saying, well, the trail ends here, the path ends here. We'd have to go this way in a nervous voice. Do you guys hear a nervous voice there?
Um, it's difficult to attain emotional there's just I don't think that there's enough for us to be able to tell if she could be excited she got off the bridge. She could have been like nervous from crossing it. Like she could be like, I know that anytime like if you've had any kind of trauma in your life where like maybe you had like child problems or whatever, that having a guy be that close to you is gonna make you emotional. Like there's just so many different things that could be going on there that we just it's only like a small snippet. I just don't think we can like
Me
And Fishy,
personally, I can't see her talking like that. That's not a normal voice. Um, and saying, well, this is it. We have to go down here. No, the normal thing she would have said was that was it. You made it. Good for you. Now we got to turn around and go back because the trail stops here. But she was talking in a subdued voice. Now, the guys down the hill, can I say that's Richard Allen? No, absolutely not. Even enhanced, I can't say that's Richard Allen. 100%. Not 100%. But that with the video and with the evidence and with him placing himself there and him confessing, yes, I'm 100% convinced that he did it.
and Fishy, what about you? What do you hear in that audio?
I hear one thing I thought was very like I felt like it was a weird thing right out the gate was that Libby seems to be the one that brings up going down the hill first. Like it doesn't appear that Bridge Guy was like directing them. It seemed like Libby stopped right there, like focused on that area and was already saying like that this is where we go down.
Why
And
would that make sense, though?
because I'll tell you why it could make sense, but I don't actually like know where the geocaches are, but I have definitely geocached myself. And once I found like a geocache that was in like an area, the next time I was like walking with other people, I 100% was like, oh, I know where this cool little box is, because like a lot of times they'll have little toys or whatever. And so they had been geocaching and there was 2 in that area. So what if like Libby was like, oh, this is where we go down to get to that geocache, which I don't know. They probably looked into that. So
That's plausible. That's absolutely plausible. Now, can they show that they have done that before? Oh, what was that? Cryptic explanation point. What was that? I like that.
Just playing with my sticks here.
I have two things that could say that that they have done that before. One of them is they're both from Kelsey, and one of them is from the James Brenner interview. She says something about them geocaching either that weekend or the weekend right before, but the way I heard it, it was that weekend. And the other thing that Kelsey said, it was actually Susan Hendricks was, I think she put it in her book that they were down there and Kelsey like looked in a geocache, and I can actually play it because I think I made a video on it.
Yeah, if they did, law enforcement would know that because of phone data.
But I
Right?
mean,
You need a
would law
phone to
enforcement know that?
geocache, right?
The law enforcement didn't get Kelsey's phone data. I don't think.
Are you sure?
I believe that's what I heard, but I'm not 100% sure. I wouldn't stake my
I've
life
gotten
on
to
it.
the point, Fishy, and honestly, and I know you've heard this out of my mouth before, unless law enforcement releases it, I don't believe it.
Well, law
I've
enforcement isn't releasing a lot of shit, so then I mean, like nothing's true if you're gonna wait for that.
Well, I mean, that's part of solving a case. You don't release things that only the killer would know.
Yeah, but what about now? Like after he's already convicted, you still don't release it?
No. I can't believe they're releasing all this stuff from the Koberger case. I really can't understand why they're doing that.
Why wouldn't they? Like I don't understand why they wouldn't.
He pled out.
Yeah.
He said he did it. Now, that's the only thing I can think of. Since he pled out, they'll release it.
Well,
Alan
don't you
didn't
live in
plead
Florida?
out, so they'll hold it because there could be an appeal. Koberger doesn't have an appeal, so they can release all of that stuff. Alan could have an appeal. Now, once that's expired, say he gets no appeal, they may release some more evidence.
Doesn't Florida basically just like release all the evidence all the time?
Oh, no. Go find the crime scene pictures from Danny Rawlings. You can't. You won't ever. They seal them.
Do you think that like okay, so with the crime scene photos in this case, they basically marked all the photos as like crime scene photos, like that were in or around the bridge. Do you think that that is they need to go to that level, or they could release the ones that don't have the girls in them?
Well, they have to. When they found the girls, they didn't know anything. That whole area, since it's outside, is a crime scene. There's so many egress and degress areas where they could have went in and went out that it's crazy because it's outside. So that's
But
a
they
huge crime scene.
would you believe me if I told you that they didn't even like walk the path that would go by like the Hoosier Hardware store or anything to look for any evidence
No,
ever? They still haven't.
no, I wouldn't believe that.
Well,
Well,
that's what the transcripts say from the trial.
yeah, and I'm not saying it's not true, but I would find it hard to believe that law enforcement didn't check that whole area.
I
I mean, how did they get to the Hoosier Harvest store camera?
I maybe the Hoosier Harbor store like actually called them and told them, but like or I don't know, but I know that they didn't they didn't know which way he left, and they didn't canvas. Like they did an extremely poor investigation, and like it's not that I think all law enforcement like because okay, Detective Coy Cox, like I have a lot of respect for him. I feel like he goes out of his way to get like he's definitely invested in like solving that case.
He just
Um,
retired, actually.
did he? I
Yeah,
was
because
wondering.
he's a really good guy. He is.
And like that's
He,
just a cool name, anyways. Like
yeah,
Coy Cox.
yeah, it is. Yeah, Detective Coy Cox. Yeah, I
Can
agree.
I can I propose an experiment here?
Sure.
Yeah.
The one I did, but I want Ruckus to do it and Fishy to do it and the people in the chat to do it. Can you send that video and that audio to some people that or friends or relatives or anyway, some people that they don't know anything about the case to see what are they hearing? You know what I mean? Because when I did that experiment, it was really crazy. The answers I got,
What
no.
what kind of answers did you get?
Oh my God! I had a video in my channel. It's just crazy. It's
I'll be right
no
back.
nothing similar to that be a gun or that is the path we go down. It's it's nothing similar to that. And I'm talking about English speakers. My friends are in Australia, in Ireland, in US, in Canada. English speakers, not like me, like the Latino guy. No, forget about that. I want you to do that experiment because I think we are doing some discussions here, and that discussion is biased with the information we have about the case.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just want to, maybe if you can try to do that experiment, it's gonna be interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Maybe
for
if
sure.
you have a brother or a sister or whatever. Hey, why are you listening to here? Tell me what's your input about that. And for sure, it's not going it's nothing going to be similar to that be a gun or this is the path we are, we go there. Is I don't know if you understand my point,
I
but
do.
I do.
I 100% do understand your point, and I think it is an excellent thought experiment, and I do encourage everybody to do that, and then report back to me and Cryptex with your results. I have two sisters, but my family is, yeah. I don't know. I guess it's probably me. If if you have a problem with a lot of people, then
Now,
maybe it's
now, what if
yourself.
he didn't have a gun at all?
I
Could he
mean,
have? Could he have still gotten them to go down the hill?
yeah. Or but like also, what if they were already going down the hill?
But do you see my point? Unless she said that's Richard Allen or that's the guy that works at CVS, it doesn't matter what she said. It has zero impact on the case.
Well, I
They knew
think
he
that
had a
it
gun
makes a
because
big
they
impact
found a
because
bullet.
that but the only reason that bullet is like means anything is because they say that's what she said. Otherwise, it
Is
doesn't
that
mean
what they said
anything.
in court?
Well, like we're getting through the transcripts, but like obviously we haven't listened to them all, so I can't definitively say like what
Now, who are you working
everything.
with on that? Who's we?
Um, well, like criminality and sleuthy basically took the transcripts and put them like with AI voices, so it's very. They actually use the people's voices that they had clips of to read it
Okay.
off, and it's very interesting. But like we're definitely not super deep into it. Probably like I don't know.
But if
Thir-
she didn't say that be a gun or he has a gun or there's a gun or didn't say the word gun, does that impact anything to you
in
guys
my
in this
opinion,
case?
I think that they wanted it to say that, and that they I don't know how they could testify to that because I don't think that you can definitively say that, but they
Well, who
testified to that.
testified to that? Who said that that's what they said? That's the first time I've heard. I've heard a lot of people say that she said he has a gun or that be a gun or whatever. I haven't heard anything from law
I mean,
enforcement or the
I need
trial.
like all eyes in here. She's like an index file of all information. She's excellent, and her repository on this case is like a benefit to us all. So if you have any questions, like it's all right there. Whoosh.
Yeah, criminality has a pretty good system as well.
Well,
And
I
and
mean,
and I'm not
they're
doubting
all
any of that. I'm just asking you, what difference does that make? The reason the gun comes into play is because they found an unspent round, not
I
because
think
of
it's
what they said.
I think it's vice. I think they needed it to say that in order to link it, kind of.
I don't see how. Physical evidence, I mean, it's hard to understand. It's hard to hear. I'm sure that they have listened to it. They've had experts listen to it. Mr. Steve has listened to it. I've listened to it. We can't make out exactly what she's saying, because of the limitations of that iPhone 6, you know, and where she was holding it and how she was holding it and all that. but to me, it does not matter what she said. It
Ruckus,
has
were you not
zero.
surprised at how clear that footage is, though?
No. I mean, there's a decent camera on the iPhone 6. It's a decent camera. The
Yeah,
pixelation
but like
was
compared to
decent.
what they put out, like
Well, they had
it's
to.
wild.
The original, he's sideways, so of course they're going to take that snippet and they're going to clean it up and zoom it in as much as possible. To me, it's like a police sketch, right? But this is an actual person. It's an actual person. Now, can you definitively say to me that that is not Richard Allen in that picture? I can't definitively say it is. I
I can
believe it is.
definitively say that nobody in that town, despite having all those images out and people looking at it multiple times, that nobody in that town thought when they saw Richard Allen, that could be the guy and tipped him in. Not one tip. Nobody.
Right. Now, and I'm asking you for a reason. Are you married?
No.
Okay. My wife, I asked my wife, if that was me, would
That's
you
a
know
good
it was me?
news. That's
She
a
said,
good news.
absolutely. She
Uh,
said, I would absolutely know that was you if it was you. Now, look
But
at what he was
okay,
wearing.
Ruckus, that like they didn't know, and also like everybody in this case, like when there's multiple suspects that people were like, "Yep, it's that person." So obviously you can't tell. Like it's just
guys,
nobody, Laura, nobody but himself tipped him in. Like that said he was there. Like nobody looked at that footage and said that kind of looks like that guy in CBS. Not one person.
Right. Agreed. What's up, Cryptex?
no, I'm just gonna say that side by side here is just plain stupid, man. If someone is seeing Richard Allen in that sketch or in that still image, just it's just insane, man. You cannot you can match Ruckus to that pixelated image in the bridge. You know what I mean? You can match anyone here.
Well, one of the issues
Cryptex,
one of
Ruckus
the
is
issues is the way that our brains actually process vision is like our brains are meant to look at something and like take incomplete pictures and like link it together for you. And you could do like any of those like where there's like a line and it looks like longer than the other one and but they're all actually like the same. And it's a benefit of how our brains work, but it's also like something that is gonna influence how you see the world. Like it's just
I
it's
can
subjective.
make
It's all subjective, basically.
I can make a case to match Ruckus to Bridge Guy image. That's just insane. To say that Richard Allen is a match to that still image of a bridge guy on the bridge, this is just crazy. And it's the same about the voice or the guys down the hill. Come on, you cannot compare that voice to Richard Allen's voice or to anyone's voice. The voice sample is just too short. It's just insane to say that the voice is a match, and that was part of the process. What was the guy that was listening to Richard Allen's recordings or confessions, whatever, and he said during the process that according to him, the guys down the hill voice was a match to Richard Allen's voice. That is insane. That is crazy. That is unacceptable, and that makes me really mad here.
But
Really, for real.
can you say it's not a match? I'm not disagreeing with you. Can you say
Well, remember,
definitively it's not a match?
Ruckus, remember the interview that the murder sheet they made to Keegan Klein's stepbrother, and what did he say? He said, "Oh my God, this is Keegan Klein's voice." So this is not acceptable. You cannot bring
That
that.
is not Keegan Klein. That picture is not Keegan Klein.
How do you know? We don't know. We don't know. How do you
Okay.
know? Again,
That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
and that's my opinion too. I don't know. I just don't know. And the stepbrother, the stepbrother of Keegan Klein, he said in an interview to the Murder Sheets podcasters that the voice was a match. I'm
Yeah,
not saying that.
many
I'm
people
not saying
have
that.
matched up,
I'm not
for
saying
sure.
he's right. I'm not saying he's right. The only thing I'm saying here is that that aspect is really subjective.
Did he
We
say
cannot
that to
take.
law enforcement?
We cannot take any conclusion about the voice here.
I
This is
agree.
just insane.
I agree. But
You
did he
agree?
make
You
that?
agree, Ruckus? You agree? But someone from law enforcement in that process, in that trial, he was allowed to testify that the voice he was listening to was Richard Allen's voice. So this is not acceptable.
Now,
They
what
were
did the
playing.
defense
They were
attorneys
playing
do?
games in the juror's mind.
But
That's
what
my
did the
point.
defense attorneys do after that statement was made? What did they do? They had every opportunity to cross-examine him.
I'm not. I'm not a fan of the defense attorneys.
Okay.
I think I also think that they failed to point out a lot of things, but I would say that they got there was a lot of sidebars that we don't necessarily know what they said, and just because the defense didn't object to it when they should have, I definitely think that there's an argument for a lot of that, but just there is objective ways to see how tall within a couple inches the bridge guy is on the bridge, because they have the two they have like the vanishing points. They know how wide the bridge is. They can get those measurements. They could have done that. Both the defense and the prosecution could have done that. And it's beyond frustrating that they didn't spend $10,000 to do that when they spent $4 million on the trial. Like, what the like, that's frustrating.
It's all frustrating. It's all frustrating. Listen, I trust the system. I don't like it. Do you
I don't
follow me?
understand.
I don't like it, but I
Don't
trust it.
trust the system.
It's the
Like,
best
you have
system in the world.
Ruckus. Can you clarify that because I don't understand? You trust the system, but you don't like it. I'm
Right.
confused.
I don't think there should be juries. I think it should be the judges decide all the cases, because
oh, dear Lord.
once the case gets turned over to the prosecutor, Cryptex, the truth does not matter anymore. Now it's theatrics, smoke and mirrors, deflection. Look over
That's
there.
true.
He didn't do it. You know,
Whether
every case.
the defense is likable, or whether they wear the same outfit every day, or like so much stuff.
That shouldn't matter. Yeah, it shouldn't matter. And as far as the sidebar goes, that's all about procedure and decorum. That's all that is. They're not talking about any specifics of the case.
Well, you're asking if they objected to certain stuff, and they definitely had to do sidebars to talk about like what they were going to like allow, because
Well,
basically
they had to give grounds, Fishy. They had to give grounds. If the judge didn't understand, if there is an objection there, right, she may say, oh, they should object to this, right? But she can't do that. She has to be impartial. So if they object
she
and she
literally
says on
did
what
that on
grounds,
multiple occasions, told Nick what to file, like so
well, I understand people are biased against the judge and all that. I really don't care either way. The evidence is there or it's not there. And that's why we have the appellate system.
That's the problem. There's no evidence, and I think Richard Allen is involved for real, but I don't see any evidence. Everything is circumstantial, but I don't know. Anyways, I have a question, and I have a little bit of information about Ruku's thinking about my question, but I want to know what Fishy thinks about it. Fishy, what do you think about Keegan's involvement in this crime? Do you think this is? Anyways, what do you think about Keegan Klein here? Because this is
okay.
my yeah. Go
So
ahead.
I think in the evidence shows from his phone that after the press conference, I believe on the 19th, that he erased stuff from his phone. Also,
Yeah.
like which and those girls said on that documentary with the latest one, the ones that were out to sleep over the night before, they said that Libby was questioning the Anthony Shots account because she said, I know everybody in this town. Like I know everybody all around and I've never seen this guy before. And then her and her friend were both talking to him and he was telling them that he was from different places. So he didn't even have like his story straight between them. And so Libby was already like, what exactly is going on here? So to say that like that he was, and they don't have the messages from Snapchat. Like Jerry Holman said that on that one chick that like she went to court and Teddy like her little assistant, he was like, I don't know what her name is. I don't know what her channel name is, but she's blonde, she's pretty, she like wears cute outfits, and her husband is a psychologist or something like that. She's like Mormon. Can anybody help me out here?
No, I don't know who
Anyways,
that is.
that chick I don't even remember what my point was.
Well, here's the thing. What would you two have done differently if you were defending him in court? Your only job now, here's your only job as the defense attorney.
Thank
Right?
you so much.
Me?
That is who.
Let me answer to that
hidden
question.
crime, Lauren. Exactly.
Okay.
First thing, forget about the Odinism theory.
Okay.
Even if that theory is correct or right, which I don't believe, is the wrong strategy. That's just, no one is gonna buy that theory. Even if that theory is right, no one is gonna buy it. You're not gonna get your client getting an innocence result if you use that theory. Forget about that. Focus on the most the thing that makes the more sense here. So you have Keegan Klein. He was the one behind the Anthony Shots account. He was the one communicating with Libby just a couple of days before the crime. He was the one supposed to meet her the day of the murders at the Monon Heights Bridge, but she didn't show up. He was the one looking for the address of the Marathon gas station the day of the murders. He was the one leaving to Vegas right after the murders. He was the one sending money to Libby via the Cash App application. So he was the one confessing to the crime at the Grissom Air Force Base. He was the one confessing to the crime the same day the search of the Wabash rivers, of the Wabash River search started. So how can you not use the Keegan Klein strategy if you want to defend
They
your
weren't.
client?
They weren't allowed
Your
to.
client is
Like,
just insane. Don't go to the Odinism theory because that's insane. No one is gonna buy that.
they weren't allowed to use
The
that.
strategy that is gonna make sense is the Keegan Klein's
Sleuth,
angle.
where are you leading us? This is what I want to know. Where the fuck are we going, Sleuth? I'm just kidding. You can come up here if you would like to tell us where you were leading us to. Laura wants to know: are you being responsible with where you're leading people?
Now that Keegan Klein interview at Grissom, he never confessed to that cryptex. He said he had nothing to do with that. So that part, he didn't confess to it. And you know how I feel about Keegan Klein. He's a
But
piece of shit.
why do you say that? That's not the information we have.
Have you read the transcripts
No.
of that interview? All right.
Tell me about that.
I don't listen to other creators. I don't listen to documentaries
Okay.
or anything like that. I go by what law enforcement puts out and what's released to the public.
Okay,
That
fair enough.
transcript was released to the public, and that was released a long time ago.
Do we have?
Um,
Excuse me, Rukus.
Yes.
Do we have a transcript of that confession of Keegan Klein?
It wasn't. He didn't confess. He was getting pissed off, saying, "You're trying to pin this on me, and I had nothing to do with those girls' murders."
I don't think that was him talking at
Similar.
the Air Force Base. Maybe it was, but
Yeah, that was at Grissom. That was at Grissom. Now, I spoke to Noe right after he got out of prison, and what they told the inmates was he was leaving because he was having mail problems, down there, and he's going to the hospital. When he wasn't, he was going to Grissom to be interrogated because
Yeah,
law enforcement was still, wasn't convinced
wasn't
that he didn't have
wasn't
anything
the
to do with it.
wasn't
but
the prison
Rukus,
on? Is the prison
uh,
on the Air Force Base though?
Yes.
Or somebody like so they didn't really take him anywhere, did they? It's just right there.
No, he was in jail. He was in the jail, and they took him on a field trip to Grissom, and then they took
Cassie,
him
I believe it was
to the
Cassie from
Wabash.
Denning, a local, told me something about that. I can't remember exactly because she just told me, but I will get that information and tell you guys that.
no, but sorry to interrupt here. There's a testimony from law enforcement saying that the search of the Wabash River was a direct consequence of the Keegan Klein's confession at the Grissom Air Force Base. And
Where are
this
you
is
getting that from?
huh?
Where are you getting that from?
I'm gonna send you the source. It's everywhere in the internet and it's public information. This
Well,
is
I
not
learned the hard way about sources on
so.
this case. Trust me.
I don't have that in my mind right away, but one of those guys, Vido or Mulin, I'm pretty sure one of those guys. They say that the search of the Wabash River was a direct consequence of the interrogation of Keegan Klein. I'm pretty sure about that. And
Okay.
in a couple of minutes, I'm gonna send you the I'm gonna post
Yeah,
that
send it to me.
information in my community page because
Okay.
that's public information.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Now, do you guys know what a Frank's motion is?
Yeah.
Now, that memo where they're talking about Odinism and all that, that's not the Frank's motion. That was a memo in support of the Frank's motion. The Frank's motion is basically the defense team saying that law enforcement lied to a judge to have a search warrant, a PCA, or a subpoena signed. That's what a Frank's motion is. It's really hard to prove, and they knew that. And that Frank's motion was ridiculous. I've never seen anything like that in my life. When that came out, I was with Steve, and we just looked at each other. We're like, "What the fuck? I've never seen anything like this in my life." But that's his defense attorneys doing whatever they can to deflect, to point the finger at somebody else. At the end of the day, right, you have to weed through all of the bullshit, look at the transcripts from the trial, look at the transcripts from the interrogations and investigation. We've got Richard Allen's interrogation on video, but there's also transcripts from it. But experts in body language have watched that and said he's guilty as fuck just by his body language.
Okay, so you're gonna believe experts in body language, but you don't believe in psychology. That's a
No, there's a
no-go.
big difference. There's a big difference. Huge difference. Huge difference. I can tell when Cryptex is pissed off without him saying a word. Or if he doesn't
Well,
agree,
Cortex is
I
kind
can
of like
tell.
he doesn't really hide when he's like
Well,
upset.
I'm not singling him out. I'm not singling him out personally. I'm just saying you deal with people enough, you learn these things. I know every 25, 30 ways that my wife rolls her eyes and what they mean. And when she goes, I know what that means. That's all part of body language. When
Yeah,
you're
but we don't have
rocking,
like a baseline for Rick Allen, so there's no way they could like they can't look at that and be like, oh yeah, he's doing this because they have no just like baseline of him just being regular.
But
well, it's just thousands
Why
of
is
years
that
of
name
human
Hot Pocket?
behavior.
It's making me really want a Hot Pocket. Like every time somebody says Hot Pocket, I just like think of like a pepperoni pizza Hot Pocket or like it's making me hungry, y'all.
no,
Right.
so
But
I'm sorry, Rukus, but how can you say that the confession of Keegan at the Grissom Air Force Base is not a fact?
he didn't confess.
Cryptics, I gotta
Tell
step
me,
away for
tell
one
me
second.
about that because it's blowing my mind right away. You know what I
I've
mean?
read it. Cryptex. I'm not trying
Where?
to be a dick to you.
Tell me your source. Your source,
The
because
transcripts that were released, by law enforcement of that investigation,
tell
that
me about that.
interrogation.
Tell me about that, because so I'm sorry, and I love you, but I don't buy that.
Oh,
This
that's
is,
okay.
to me, this is a fact that Keegan confessed at the Grissom Air Force Base, and that was
Hey, Sleuth,
stated.
you know where that information comes from, and you're definitely very organized. Can you help us out? Like, because I know that you've talked about that too, Sleuth. So can you maybe like tell us where that information comes from? You can just do it in the chat. You don't have to come on. And Cryptex, if I just gotta step away for like 1 second, if you guys could just like entertain yourselves for a minute.
Yeah,
Sure.
no problem. No worries.
But I've read it, Cryptex, and I have it somewhere. Listen, I don't have my computer set up, okay, because I'm moving. I'm building a new house. So I have it on there, but I've read it over and over again. He did not confess. He didn't even come close to confessing at all. The closest thing he came to, because they were like, well, who else would have had access to your phone to that Anthony Schatz account? And he said, well, my dad was home, and my cousin, Travis, could have messaged them. He didn't say anything about he did it.
I have a different information here, Rukus. The
But where he,
information.
that's what I'm saying. I learned the hard way, my friend. Do not trust what people tell you.
No, it's not about that. It's
I've read it. Have you read it?
yeah, of course, I read
Okay.
it. I'm not
And you're
making
saying,
things up.
and you're
I'm
saying in that transcript, he said, I did it.
I don't have that transcript. I don't think anyone has that transcript. The
Oh, yeah.
transcript of the
A lot of
confession,
people,
the
have it.
the confession of King Klein at the
Never
Grissom Air Force
confessed.
Base.
He never confessed to this crime,
Uh,
ever.
I disagree. That's a fact here in this process, Rukus.
And that's
Uh,
okay. Listen, I don't mind disagreeing with you.
no, no,
You
no,
know
no.
that.
Me too. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Let's find the answer. But I think this is a very important piece of information here in this case. If Keegan Klein actually confessed at the Grissom Air Force Base, this is a big piece of information. And what I recall is that someone from law enforcement, and I'm gonna find that information because I have it.
Okay.
They said that the search of the Wabash River search was a direct consequence of the interrogatory or the interrogation of Keegan Klein at the Grissom Air Force Base with Nick McClelland. They brought Keegan Klein to the cemetery to to give that information. The cemetery that is just close to the crime scene. You know what I mean? But I have that homework for you and for me.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna find that information. I have it.
Now, and again, this is hearsay. When I
It's not.
spoke to
Hearsay.
Noe,
It's
no,
not
not you,
hearsay.
not what you're saying, my friend.
Okay, that's
I'm
enough
saying,
of that. I'm gonna cut you guys both off, and we're gonna move on to a different topic because we're just gonna chill it down a little bit.
This is a very important topic.
Yeah, but
it's not getting
it's not.
heated,
We're not
Christy.
getting anywhere with it. So we're just gonna put it. We're not gonna forget about it. We're just gonna put a pin in it, and then we're gonna like come back to it when people are more chill. And
Yeah, I'm chill. I'm not mad at all.
I'm not. I get
Just peace.
Now, what
I
I
mean,
was just gonna say,
No. Hey.
But
by the way, I love Fishy and I love Rokus, 100%.
amen, brother.
Anthony, we're changing the topic because like I don't think because I want to, and it's my show, and I can do whatever I want. So
That's right. That's right. But when I spoke to Noe, what he told me was that Keegan told him that he was there in a red Jeep
I don't know if we're gonna believe Noe
waiting.
though. Like,
I
are we
know,
gonna believe
and
Noe
that's why I
or
said it's
not?
hearsay.
Or Keegan, honestly.
Yeah, Cryptex mistook me. I wasn't talking about what he was saying. The hearsay is what Noe said. And
Yeah.
Noe told me that Keegan told him that he was in the red Jeep while his father and somebody else went and committed the crime. They come back, they drove around to the cemetery, and then they had Keegan help move the bodies. That's what Noe told me. And that's on the live. I mean, you can go see that. That's what he said. But it's hearsay. You know, none of that really makes any sense, to be honest. But there was pictures of they did own a red Jeep, so there was a little bit of merit to it, I guess. But you have
Well,
to
and
take everything with a grain of
according to
salt.
murder sheet, if we're gonna do that, like according to a murder sheet, they did search the Marathon gas station, and so like we could add that. Plus, we know for a fact that Keegan Klein was speaking to the girls based on multiple sources, like those girls from the sleepover, Jerry Holman, like
Yeah, he's a
like so
creep.
that's not a question. Like that definitely happened. Also, Susan, I think it was Susan Hendricks, but maybe it was like Barbara McDonald. They actually talked to Keegan Klein and said that he had talked to Kelsey. We know all of that is for sure fact, whether it made it into the court or not, which it didn't. Like newsflash, it didn't make it in, but it still happened. It's still a fact. Like it did, just because it didn't make it into the court, into the trial, doesn't make it like not a fact. It
I
actually is.
agree. I agree. You know, I didn't give him any money, but I used to chirp with Keegan. But all he wanted to know was about Holly. He was in love with Holly. I tried to talk to him, but all he wanted to know was about Holly. That was it. Couldn't get anything out of him.
Uh,
I don't know that you want anything out of him.
Well, you know, I was just trying to find out, you know, if he did talk to law enforcement, what he told them, yada, yada, yada. I wasn't expecting anything, but
Well,
these were things that I had to ask, you know, for my own personal knowledge.
okay.
cumbersome 55. I think you're 100% right about the hair. I'll tell you, like my hair gets everywhere, like everywhere. So, like even after it's gone through the wash, like Abby's hands were like still in the hoodie. Like they basically said she hadn't like taken them out of the hoodie. And so to say that she whether it could have been from the wash or not, like my hair, it's literally like it's in every place. It gets wrapped in everything. Maybe Libby had worn a scrunchie that her sister had worn, and that's how she got a hair that was transferred. Like girls' hair is everywhere. Like the drains. Have you ever cleaned a drain with a girl with long hair? There's a shit ton of hair in there. So that isn't really like too. That's not too like damning to me. That like girls that live together that like probably use the same brush and we're in the same car, same hair ties. Like that a hair with a root could have gotten in there. Like I'm okay with that for sure.
My hair gets everywhere too.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe back in the 80s.
Yeah, when it was falling out, it did.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
but does it not bother you that there's no DNA anywhere of like there? But there is DNA. There's just not Richard Allen's.
No, that doesn't bother me at all.
Dude, Laura, like, my hair, like, I will stick it on the side of the shower, like when I take a shower, right? Like, so it's like on the wall, and then, so, like a boyfriend that I had in the past, he would like write little notes to me in my hair. This is so funny. Gross. That's also gross, but funny.
Well, it happens, you know, but is that something they had to look at? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because,
Well, it's just like Ruckus, I have an issue with like every single thing that they did not being done well. Like they basically cut corners or half-assed it on many things, and it's just like, okay, so one thing that, like, can I ask you if you took away all the stuff against Richard Allen and only presented to a jury the stuff against Keegan Klein that we know is like factual, but you didn't let anything else in, and there was no other story told to the jury, do you think that they would convict Keegan Klein for the murders?
No.
Do you think they would convict Ron Logan in the same circumstance?
No.
Where all the other information is taken away and they only present the stuff that's against them?
No, you have to put them at the crime scene.
Well, Ron
You have
Logan
to.
definitely has been put at the crime scene. Just according to the FBI warrant, like his phone was pinging in the area of the bodies, right?
Well, there's 2 towers in that area. It's like Libby's phone. Mike Patty said it was pinging all over town. Depends on
No, but we're
which
not going to take what
tower.
Mike Patty says. We're only going to take what evidence like the law enforcement has released. So we're not going to take what Mike Patty said about pinging all over town. Like we're just going to throw that out. But like the FBI search warrant said that Ron Logan's phone was in the area during the time, right?
And they were wrong. That's
I'm
the
not saying
thing.
whether they're right or wrong. I'm saying that if you took the information that the cops have and you took away everything else that you know and you only tell them that story, like I personally think that they would get a conviction against Keegan Klein, Ron Logan, whoever, if they took away everything else and only presented the shit that's against them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can't put him there. You have to put somebody at the crime scene.
They're literally on Ron Logan's property. Like, you could put him there. They're on his property.
That's like I said with me finding your driver's license. That doesn't mean you were there. Do you follow me? And
But Ron Logan lives
matter.
there, and his
But it does matter. He could be in his living room, and his phone could be pinging at the bridge because of the towers. Unless you use geofencing or GPS, phone pings is very general. Very general. Can be off by miles. Mr.
I think the FBI
Mr.
actually
Steve went there, and his wife was up at the cemetery, and he went down to the crime scene. She pinged his phone, and it showed that he
they
was
use phone
350
evidence
yards.
all the time. It's literally his property. So, like, to say that he wasn't there is wild because he definitely was on his property.
Well, he lives there.
That's my exact thing.
But honestly, have you been there? And I'm not trying to be a smartass.
You totally are not being a smartass. I understand.
Yeah,
I've watched like everything, so I think I have a fairly decent understanding. But like, also the jury wasn't there, so you can't even hold that against me because the jury is going off less information than I have.
Right. That is not an easy area to get to.
Or to understand that if you're a juror.
Right. I agree with that. Until I went there, I've seen videos. I've seen videos of walking from the cemetery down there and across the bridge, across the creek, all that. That's not someplace. They didn't find any of his footprints there. They didn't find anything that said that Ron Logan was there. Nothing. Zero. That's why he wasn't arrested for it. He was never arrested for this case.
Do you think that the FBI and the Unified Command had a difference of opinion at some point, and that there were different law enforcement that were hard set on different people?
Well, again, and I'm not trying to sound like a dick, but you start the sentence off with, do you think? I don't know. I wasn't there. I can imagine.
Well, like, you can't say you trust law enforcement in this one circumstance and then completely be like, I don't know, I wasn't there. Like, this is what we're doing. We're like saying our opinions. So I'm just asking, like, what you think.
Okay, my opinion is that it was a task force, and the FBI investigator thought that Ron Logan had a part in this. They searched his property. They arrested him for DWLSR, driving without a license, because he went to the dump. They have him on video doing that. Now
He did not lie.
had his,
He did not lie about his alibi for when he went to the
well,
dump.
I was just getting to that. He told his cousin before there was even anybody knew there was a crime. He told his cousin to lie for him and say that he drove him to the fish. That's sketchy. That's sketchy as fuck. I agree with you 100%. That does not mean that he did this or had anything to do with it. But that is sketchy as fuck. Why the hell would you ask for an alibi for a time when the girls were murdered before anybody even knew they were murdered? I don't like that either. I agree with you 100%. But he never said he was down there. They didn't find his bullet down there. He wasn't wearing,
Well, I
didn't say
mean,
he was
they
wearing
didn't
the same
even.
clothing.
I don't think they tested his. I think I'm almost positive he probably had like that caliber of weapon in his arsenal of guns. They said they took a van that was full from top to bottom, and the front seat was full. Like that's a ton of weapons, and I don't believe that. I mean, they gave them back to him. There's no way that they held on to him and tested them.
He wasn't allowed to have guns. They didn't give him back to him.
And yet he didn't get charged for that, and they gave him back to him. So like that's.
Are you sure they gave him back to him?
I'm 100% sure they gave him back to him.
Yeah, if he's not allowed to have guns because he's on probation,
Yeah,
I can't see him giving back to him until he's done with his probation. You know, to me, that doesn't make sense. If they did that, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense that they wouldn't even charge them for that. I know, like, I've been on probation and parole, and like they will arrest you for that, and they will.
They did. They violated him. They violated him. They don't have to itemize it when they violate him. He was on probation for DWLSR. They violated that probation. And if you ask me, they did that so that they could get him locked up so they could talk to him. Detain him so that they could, because they thought he did it.
What if you then add in the Reese Davis letters about Ron Logan talking about a box cutter, and then that later on being considered like damning evidence, the box cutter? Like, does that mean like nothing? Because I think that is an interesting little tidbit.
To me that means zero. I mean, this is all very obvious stuff. When the defense team put out the Franks motion, I was surprised they didn't go for low-hanging fruit like Ron Logan or Keegan Kline. No, they went a whole nother whacked out direction.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, but they didn't arrest Ron Logan for this crime. Now, here's the thing, and a lot of people forget this. They knew Richard Allen was the guy. They arrested him before he confessed to anybody. They had enough physical proof. There was enough in that PCA to convict him, in my eyes.
They didn't, Rocos. What proof?
He said he was there. This is important now.
That's not proof. That's not evidence. That's not proof.
Okay, you have to be there to do it.
Of course.
Right? He said he was there. He matched the description from the video. He said he was wearing the same clothes. They found a unspent round that matched his weapon.
No.
And a witness saw him walking down 300.
No.
And witnesses saw him walking near the bridge. You don't think Betsy Blair saw him?
Not according to her description, no.
Okay. Well, a jury agreed. 100% with it.
The jury, they didn't know anything about Keegan. They didn't know anything about Ron Logan. They didn't know.
Not only did they not know anything about those people, they had no other like story to like grab onto, right? So like,
well, why didn't the
either
team
side,
that?
they're selling a story. Like, we don't actually know what happened. So the way the case is presented is a theory of what happened. It's not factual. It's not like they don't actually know what happened. And so Nick McClellan is a better storyteller, and like the defense wasn't allowed to tell the jury another story. They weren't even allowed to have a FBI officer testify by Zoom, which is fucking ridiculous, honestly, because we know that Zoom is just fine. They've been doing it through COVID. To like not allow that is something that like bothers me.
What about the white van? What about the white van? How did Richard Allen know
Ruckus,
that
Ruckus,
that white
if
van was driving
Ruckus,
down that driveway?
Ruckus, if you were really solid about the transcripts, when you read the transcripts, there's no white van at all. There's a van. There's not reference about a white van at all. It's a van.
How would he
So
know a van was driving down that road? I mean, we're using semantics there. It doesn't matter to
it's
me.
not semantic. A van is totally different to a white van. It's 100% different.
Well, okay, so like, how did he know that? Laura, thank you very much for your donation, and we'll get to your question in like 1 second. But like,
Thank you,
I
Laura.
think everybody knew what Brad Weber drove. Like, I think that there had been talk about that stuff, but like, also, I don't think that's not like something I would say only the killer knew. Like, anybody that knew Brad Weber got off work around that time that knew him would know what he was driving. Like, there's many people that could know his patterns of life or like be aware of any of that. And so that I would want more like the order, or like what happened while he was like killing them, or even just like his whole like story of what happened that day. Like, I want to know what
Well, the
happened.
defense team cross-examined him, and what happened during that?
He was out of his mind. Like, literally, he was in solitary and he was on Howdall. So to say that
I'm
you
talking
could,
about Brad Weber. The
oh, Brad,
prosecution brought him, put him on the stand. He said, "Yes, I was driving. I was going home at this
they
time."
needed the FBI agent that had spoken to him that they were trying to get by Zoom, but he had prior engagements in like Texas due to, I think it was like the election or something like that.
I
And
don't buy
so
that. On a double
you
homicide
don't
of
have
two
to buy
girls,
it. That's factual. That's
but
really what happened.
you
And
can tell me a
Judge
double
Gold kept him.
homicide of two juvenile girls. The
Yeah.
FBI can't make somebody available because of an election.
No, it like he's like a big guy in it, and yeah, Gold wouldn't allow him to testify by Zoom, which is why not? Like, he's an FBI agent. You can't make that like, you've been doing
Yeah,
it
yes,
all
you
of COVID.
can. If she subpoenas him, he has to testify. He doesn't have a choice.
No, she wouldn't allow him to do it by Zoom. That's wild, right? Like, that is not.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. It 100% doesn't.
It does not make sense. I agree
Can you guys
100%.
answer this question right here?
I didn't realize there was a difference between local police, county sheriff, state police, prosecutors, or even the courts. Yes, there's a huge difference. Huge difference. Delphi police were not involved with this because it was outside city parameters. They had nothing to do with this. Now, they offered help. They didn't need the help. FBI, the sheriff's office, the state police, and the labs. Those were the people that were involved with this case. The FBI got involved with the case, but then they left the case. They can't get kicked off. That doesn't happen. They can't get kicked off the case. That'll never happen. ISP took the lead, but there's also a county sheriff's office as well, which is where Yoder worked. Right? No, he was ISP, wasn't he, Yoder? But they all get together and they form a task force, is what they do. That mobile command center, do you remember seeing that on the drone footage the day they found the girls from the helicopter, not the drones? You can see that big box truck. That was a mobile command center. In that command center was ISP, local law enforcement, FBI, sheriff's office, and they decided that the local law enforcement, Delphi police, it was outside their jurisdiction. So they didn't have to participate. Lucky for them. But that's the difference. The prosecutor works for the state. And you got to remember that Gull appointed these attorneys. Now, as far as the appeal goes, he cannot say that he had bad representation. That got all cleared up by the state Supreme Court when they reinstated those attorneys. that he cannot use that for an appeal. If he wants to keep these guys, he cannot use that as an appeal. So that's
Cryptex,
out.
pissed out. Are you okay? Should we meditate for a minute? I think it's
Cryptex, you
only
okay, bud?
I think the 2 hours, like, where is fucking, like, too much. And honestly, I'm just gonna say I miss Dan. He's, like, the best backup ever. Like, it's nice to
What
have.
happened to him?
Oh, he's around and about. He doesn't work nights anymore, and we're I don't think
I used to
he's
go on his lives early in the morning because he'd be up
yeah, I don't
driving
think
and I
he's
always get up
he
early.
he loves you, Ruckus, a lot. I don't think he's too pleased with me at the moment, but
Yeah, and
that's
him and
neither
I
here nor
didn't
there.
agree on a lot. That's for sure. We didn't agree. I never had a crossword with him. I
Dan
just
can
don't see the point.
Dan can argue and talk for hours, and it's
Well, he's a
like
contrarian.
it's impressive though.
Yeah.
Like,
If I said I think he's guilty, he'd say he thinks he's innocent. If I said I think he's innocent, he'll say he thinks he's
wouldn't
guilty.
say that. Actually, he would not say that at all.
Well, for the sake of conversation, I mean, that's what a contrarian is. You know, he should have been an attorney. That's what he should have done.
I mean, he literally could do. He's very, very smart. What is that, Cryptex?
Is that a pear? A pear?
It's a Rocus.
Oh, what the hell's growing out of my head? Pendejo.
That's funny.
El calvo.
Mamao.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
Matita ser.
It is.
See.
I could drop the link again if anybody else wants to come up here. I literally just can't like talk anymore. Like literally 2 hours is my max to talk. And
Yeah, an hour is it for me. I'm gonna go ahead and dip. Usually I do my lives for an hour. People lose interest.
That's a lie, Ruckus, because you've been talking for like 4 hours.
No, when I do my lives, I said my lives.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I'll talk to you guys later. It was great. Thanks for having me on, and I'll talk to you guys later. Cryptex, send me that transcript on just a mere full space.
Ruckus,
sure.
you know I got much love for you, even though I don't agree with anything you say ever.
That's okay. We've always been like that. But I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay. Bye.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Love you. Ciao.
Ruckus just left, or Cryptex left too. Okay, I guess we done. Your channel is done, Dirtbag. Who's the Dirtbag? I know you're not talking to me like that. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't be surprised if you were talking to me like that. Thank you, everybody who has been here and listening to us chat for this long. If I didn't get your comment, I'm sorry. If blah, 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 blah. See you next time. Bye.